Welcome, 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 welcome. Shalom, shalom, Brother Ken. If you can hear me, put a one in the chat. All right, all right, all right. Shalom, shalom, family. Welcome. Brother Ken, if you can hear me, put a one in the chat for us. Perfect. Want to make sure I could be heard. Thank you so much for coming in. We're going to give a couple of minutes, let everybody else roll up in this piece. Brother Major is on the wheels of steels. He's going to be guiding us through this panel discussion. We'll give us a few more minutes for people to fall on in. Shalom, Lisa. Thank you for coming in. Shalom and peace and blessings to everybody in the chat. All right. Brother Jojo put you on. That's great. Thank you so much, Lisa, for following up in here. Speech, we're going to discuss police in our communities. Hopefully, we can get some understanding as to how we can move forward on policing ourselves. That's what the ultimate goal would be for me, for our nation to stand up as a nation of people, police ourselves. But that's just how I see it. So, Lisa, what state you coming in from? I know Brother Ken is in Texas. Brother Major is in Georgia. I'm in Texas as well. New York. New York in the house. Thank you so much, sister. All right. All right. We see we got our brother Worthy trying to get on backstage. I don't know if he's having problems trying to get on. Let's see here. Mm, Nobody can't come in. See Sister DD Taylor coming in. Brother Worthy coming in and out. Sister Didi, how you doing today, Sister Didi? Peace and blessings, sister.
Good, good. You can hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
All right. We having look like Brother Worthy is having a little technical difficulty getting in behind the scenes.
Now, is this on YouTube? We're not, oh, you haven't started yet, huh?
Yeah, we're live on YouTube right now. We're waiting for people to come on in. People to get accumulated, accumulate some people in the chat before we get started. Waiting for our panelists to get on.
Oh,
We're on CP time.
oh, okay.
We're gonna take our time with this thing. We're gonna
Oh,
take our
definitely,
time.
Now, wait a minute. It says waiting for Achoti Speaks. So on my TV, it says we're waiting for you to come on.
I'm already live streaming on my end.
Oh, okay, I don't want to end up booting myself off. Hold on right quick. Where's YouTube? Let's see.
Everybody in the chat still hear us? Put a one in the chat if y'all still hear us.
Okay, can you hear me, sis?
Yes, I can still hear you. Great.
Hello?
Yes, I can see. I can hear you, sister. Sister Didi, I can
Okay,
hear you.
can you hear me, sis?
Yes, I can still hear you. Great.
Hello?
Yeah, you might have to turn your volume down on your YouTube.
Can you hear me, sis?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Okay, good.
Brother Jojo, how are you today, sir? Shalom.
Peace, sister, peace. I wasn't gonna be here too long. I just wanted to make sure I came to show my support and make sure that I stand in the gap for our brother. Oh man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We definitely wanted to get
Hey, peace, brother
your take
Jojo.
on how we can do a better job of policing the police. So if you have time to check back in later on in the discussion, we'd be more than happy to put you back on the panel, my brother.
No doubt. Peace, Auntie. Peace.
Brother Ken, are you coming in backstage, Brother Ken? So while we wait for Brother Ken to decide if he's gonna come on in, I was waiting on a couple of other panelists, but it's 8 after, so we're gonna go ahead and give it another minute or so. Brother Major, we got that video queued up for us. I'm sorry, say again.
I'm trying to send it to you now. I got it. I gotta send it to you
Roger
right
that.
quick.
Roger that. That's a good thing. We're gonna take our time. Tonight's topics, my friends. We're gonna go ahead and let y'all know this is about law enforcement. We're talking about law enforcement and how law enforcement are policing our communities, and sometimes it doesn't end up good for our people, right? Sometimes we end up with us being incarcerated and sometimes put on death row, and then sometimes even being executed. So we want to talk about how we can keep these state actors out of our communities. What can we do as a community to police ourselves, to not even have to get them involved in our business? So that's what we're going to discuss today. We have a good panel of guests here joining us tonight. So I'm trying to see. I think brother, see, somebody's trying to come in the back in here. Shalom, sister. Well, brother Major fell off a little bit, I think. So, anyways, let's see here.
Oh.
So while we wait for brother Major to finish giving me that So while we wait for Brother Major to finish giving me that video, we're gonna go ahead and ask if
Fraud.
Sound like we're ready. We got it queued up. Sound like we're almost ready, huh, Major? Once again, I want to say thank you, family, for joining us. I'm Achoti Speaks, and we're going to talk about law enforcement and how law enforcement are violating our First Amendment rights, violating our Fourth Amendment rights, and how we can put together some type of plan so that we can police ourselves. So I thank y'all for joining me. I recently put together an article that will be distributed to all the major news outlets and small news outlets as well. Tonight we have a panelist of, I hope to have a panelist of Black media, what we like to call our YouTube family. Going to come in. We're going to have, hopefully we have other people joining us that's going to give testimonies to police being victims of police brutality, as well as we have two individuals that they could come in and talk about how we could continue to raise funds for each other if the unfortunate incident happens where we find ourselves engaged and involved with police brutality. So, Major, are we ready?
No.
Okay. Now take your time on that, my brother. If
I'm
need
trying to
be,
see. I'm trying to see how I'm gonna send this file. I forgot this file. I gotta send in. I forgot the file I can send it to you. It's not going through email. Email saying it's too large. I forgot this file you can send under.
all right, just send it to me. Google, drop it in
Google.
the Google link.
All
Save it
right.
and go upload it to Google, and then I'll catch it from there. So yeah, so how are we gonna move forward from now? I'm just stalling for time. I'm thinking, I'm hoping more people will come in because a lot of people said that they were gonna join us, and I hope they don't get the time confused. I am in Central Time. I see Brother Abdul. Abdul is in the building. Shalom, Brother Questman is in the house. How you doing?
Shalom, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Turn this fan off. Okay. All right.
Thank you for joining us today. This is Questman. Questman is one of our YouTube family members doing his thing in Black media in this hour. We do appreciate you and everything that you do, my brother.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate it.
We also have on the panel Mr. Bobby Worthy. Mr. Worthy, thank you so much for joining us this evening. If you would go ahead and introduce yourself, my brother, so we can get started here.
Yes, I'm Bobby Worthy, National Judge Advocate General for the Justice League United, former National Minister of Law and Justice for the New Black Panther Party, and Special Assistant to Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, Chairman of the New Black Panther Party.
Thank you so much for being here, sir. And before we get started, All right, you can go ahead and give us some information as to where we can support you.
Hello?
And I'm sorry, I muted myself, family. Yes, yes,
Oh, okay.
thank you for being here once again. If you could go ahead and give us some information where we could contact you and learn more about what you got going on before we get started, so everyone can, understand who we're talking to.
Yes. Okay. Again, it's Bobby Worthy, National Judge Advocate General for the Justice League United, former Minister of Law and Justice for the new Black Panther Party, National Minister of Law and Justice for the new Black Panther Party, and former Special Assistant to the Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, who was the chairman of the new Black Panther Party. Everybody can reach me and see the things that we're doing. You can follow us on my Facebook, Bobby Worthy, Twitter, Instagram, even my social media as an actual certified press as well. The things that we're doing, and you can reach out to me. My phone number is 912-424-0752, 912-424-0752.
Thank you so much for that. So, I was hoping to have Brother Ken up here too as representing CLAP, People's Legal Aid Project. I think he's in the chat though. Thank you, Brother Ken, for coming through. I want to go ahead and get started and just go ahead and read the article and pause and get our dear brother Worthy's opinion of the points that's coming out in the article, and also go to some of the people that's on the panel and get their thoughts of opinion. We have several people on the panel, so I'm just asking everyone to be lenient on their time, to be concise and be respectful of others' time and wanting to add in and give an opinion, because we are looking for solutions, and everybody's opinion is important and valuable and needed as we try to work through this thing, because it's getting kind of hot, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and start by reading the article. So this is an article that will be published. I wanted to give it a minute before I went ahead and put the final touches on it, and I'm happy to share it for the first time on behalf of our new news channel, News Facts and Comments. This is a commentary on Florida State red hot summer looming. Now, I want y'all to consider these numbers: 5,894,518 arrests made between the years of 2013 and 2021. That's on average 736,814 arrests a year, with 3,966,760 arrests for low-level offenses. That's the equivalent of 27 arrests per 1,000 residents just in the state of Florida. So with those statistics and with those numbers, Mr. Worthy, Brother Worthy, can you tell us, in the years that you've been doing activism, can you tell us how can we stop our young brothers and sisters from even interacting with the police? Because the arrest numbers are astronomical, and the first point of contact with the judicial system is at the hands of police. So I know that you've been on both sides of policing. So if you would just enlighten us to tell us, what's the first step that we can take to stop being even encountered with these state actors?
Well, I'm gonna sum it up in as short as I can, and that really is that question is really can be answered in two parts, because we got both sides. You got us and them, civilians and the police, and all of it goes around to the mindset, and even with the mindset of the police. I had a police officer tell me some years ago, and found out that he was right, that if we have law enforcement push legislation to push law enforcement to have at least a bachelor's degree. And no matter how much they hate white folks or how much somebody hate black folks, whatever reason it is, an educated man or woman will handle a situation different than you have those with the minds that come into law enforcement with the minds set and the size of a BB rolling down a 6-lane highway. This is the ignorance you get. And now on the other hand side of our side, we have to change the mental state of slavery that we are in. We as a people, most of us, not all of us, are in a mental state of slavery. And what is the core behind that mental state of slavery today? Because I deal with the criminal justice system all the time, and the black on black crime, the white on white crime. Because before there was black on black crime, there was always white on white crime. We were educated into this system. So, and until we change the mindset, and the core thing, I'm gonna get back on it. The core thing that is changing the mindset of our children, that has our children in a mental state of slavery, that eventually will be growing them to an adult in the mental state of slavery. And it's the rap music. Rap music of today is the core thing that promotes everything that is destroying the black neighborhoods, and now it is starting to filter into the white neighborhoods. It has made it comfortable with us calling each other the N-words, and some of us grown men. And I'm going to just roll over on the floor the next time I see a man 60, 75 years old with his pants hanging down, listening to bead music they call our women B's and H's, degrading our women. And the entertainers, Farrakhan said it best. He said the entertainers are always talking about calling the degrading their women B's and H's, the N-words, and all the music that promotes the violence in our neighborhoods and all that. But yet, when they get the white folks give them an award, they go up and give their acceptance speech and say, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Really, that is truly a mental state of slavery. And if we're not careful, we're going to mess around and be back in bondage. Rap music is destroying the mindset of our children. And we are right there with it.
Okay, brother. Thank you for that. You said a mouthful, and you hit upon some very valid points. That mental mindset of slavery. So I can sum it all up as to bad behavior. So are you saying that our bad behavior are prompting these state actors to have to come and intervene and show us how to live properly amongst each other? So we're talking about bad behavior that's prompting state actors to have to come in and police us. Sister Dee, what do you think about the behavior of our children in having absent, mentors to help guide our individual, children in our individual neighborhoods that lack guidance, that's looking to the rap music for how to act, how to behave? We're talking about behavior. How do you think that connects to having police coming into our communities? Sister Dee, are you there? We'll go
Okay.
ahead. Oh, here she goes. Go ahead.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead, sister.
Hello? Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. You might have to turn your...
Okay. Let me, can you hear me? Sorry about this. Okay. All right. I think I may have to grab my earphones soon. Okay. I have to turn my TV down.
Right.
Okay. So your question is, can you please repeat the question?
So, Our brother Worthy made a point about having to change our minds and being stuck in mental
Earphones.
slavery,
So,
and how that is
okay. I have to turn my
trickled
TV
down
down.
to how our children behave, and they're getting their behavior from listening to rap. They're mimicking the behavior that's found in rap music, rap videos, and now I'm posing the question is, how does that relate with having to deal with police coming in and having to chastise, for lack of better words, our own children in our neighborhoods? Do you think that rap music is influencing it, and as a result, our children are portraying more bad behavior than was in the past, and that's why the police are in our communities? I'm sorry, Sister Dee. Do we have a delay? If anybody else want to chime in and answer that question or take a stab at it, I know it's kind of complicated question, but
Okay, sis, thank you for repeating that.
I'm sorry, Sister Dee. Do we have a delay?
Okay. I'm here. I'm okay. Okay, sis, thank you for repeating that. Okay, can y'all hear me okay?
I can hear
Yes,
you
I can.
fine.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you for repeating the question. Now my thing is this: a lack of unification, I think, is our biggest problem. The rap music does play a role in terms of causing a lot of destruction in our communities. However, if we were unified and if we came together to not just teach our own children, but to teach on a broader level in terms of us coming together and teaching all of our children, okay? Teaching them how to be real warriors and not becoming fixated on rap music or any negative vibes out there that will cause us to fight amongst each other. When you raise children up to be the type of adults, okay, because everybody's a child one time in their life. You lived your life a very short time as a child, and you have the rest of your life to become an adult. If we come together and we put in our children's mindset, we teach them right from wrong. We teach them how, about not only group economics, but group love, group strength, group togetherness. We teach them how to first and foremost love themselves. And then that way, that'll be the beginning of them loving people that look like them. So it's very imperative that we come together, because that's the first step, is us coming together, as a unit. We have to. So far, as far as I have seen, our people are the only group that I know of that just has not gotten it together, in terms of coming together collectively on all levels. So you start with self-love first. We have to instill that in our children. Self-love first. That's the first thing, is self-love. So that way they can, again, love each other. Love those who look like them. Protect those who look like them. Okay, so that's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you, sister, for that. So basically, what I got from that was group living. Back to that community, takes a village to raise a child. Can break the chains of mental slavery, which can then change behavior. So we just had two excellent comments, commentaries, moving us forward to understanding what is it that we need to do to police ourselves, changing our behavior, changing our mindset, breaking the chains of mental slavery. I want to now go to Mr. No, Brother JoJo. I'm gonna go with Brother JoJo because he said he can't be here long, but he wanted to chime in on policing and what we can do to help our community get back to how it used to be when we policed ourselves and we had our own communities in check. Brother JoJo? Perhaps there's a delay. Perhaps there's a delay with Brother JoJo. So let's see. Let's go to Questman. 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 To you.
Let's see.
I'm sure you've heard what
there we go.
Brother Worthy had said and what Sister Gigi said. Your input on breaking the chains of mental slavery to change our behavior, particularly with our youth.
Well, one of the things I could mention is I don't think it can start at some of the points that we mentioned. While they have validity, I think we have to dig up the root of the problems. And the problem doesn't start with rap. It doesn't start with any of that. Because after all, at one point in time, rap was under our control in the form of conscious hip hop. But when the powers that be invested in rap, then it became hijacked and used as a vehicle for the aims and agenda of our adversaries. So we can't blame rap in and of itself, but rather blame rap, since rap is the form of communication, ancestrally speaking. We have to consider the idea of what our adversaries have done. That is, they've poured in money. If we look at pretty much every problem that we're suffering today, it revolves around our inability to invest in our protections. You understand? Invest in the things that we use. And so, for example, when we find ourselves with brothers and sisters who are incarcerated and on bogus charges and things like that, we look and we see that it takes us months just to gather, several $100,000 in their support. While when our adversaries commit blatant crimes, killing us, taking our lives, they can gather 2.5 million within weeks. You understand? So we see that our adversaries are able to both invest in their own defense and protections, but also invest in the things that would help to destroy us as a people. Somehow we have to develop the mindset that, we need to control our methods, our means, our vehicles for communicating, our vehicles for expressing our culture. Rap is ours. It came from us. It didn't come from anybody else. And when it came from us, it didn't come in the form that you see it today. You'll find many authentic elders amongst the hip hop community who will tell you that this stuff that's going on today is not what we've been about. You understand? It's hijacked. But in order for any of that to even happen, there has to be a realistic unity. You understand? See, many of us are miles and miles and miles apart from one another. You understand? Many of us are in different states. But if in order for any kind of real unity to work, we have to be more interactive, more social. It may even mean that we have to move into a common locality so that we can become a physical and economical community as well. You understand? Establishing ourselves, establishing order, establishing authority, establishing the type of platform and environment where we can sit and say, this is the type of community that we want. You understand? Policing ourselves and so on. But without that, we're shouting from the ends of the earth, you understand, at ourselves, like if we had megaphones saying, we need this, we need that, but nobody is coming together to manifest it.
Well, I can dig it. I can dig it. So basically, now what you're saying is it's going to start with the basic ground up community building,
Yes.
from the ground up. So with that, we don't have to go outside of our what we call community to engage anyone. So with that
We
being
have to
said,
gain authority over ourselves. Yeah.
we have to have an authority, be authority over ourselves, and with any structure, and with any community, you have to have structure. So
Yeah.
you have to have some type of governance, right? Otherwise, you'll just have plain chaos. So now I'm going to pose a question back to um, um, Brother Worthy. If we have a community where we are quote unquote policing ourselves, how are we going to entice our youth and sometimes our adults to fall in line, to adhere to the standards of the community? Uh, how do we encourage them to be under or our own authority rather than being under the authority of those who continue to abuse their power when we have them in authority?
Well, I like to respond to that and some of the stuff the brother said. First of all, economic sanctions coming together in unity. Unity does not start within the physical body. Coming together is not unity. Unity starts in the mindset, because wherever the mind is, the body will follow. So we must go back to all that, even getting the economics, getting our own structures and all that. If the mindset is not changed, then nothing is going to change, because wherever your body is going to be where your mind is at. So unity among all that, unity and all that can never happen until we change the mindset. That is that even with having economics and we having our own structure, buildings, coming up with all the ideas and even having our own infrastructure, it's still got to change within the mind. If it don't change within the mind, then it's never gonna happen. And just like rap music, and everybody has their opinion, but I've been doing the research on rap, and back when Heavy D and the boys wrote the songs, we're headed for self-destruction. Little did these brothers know that they wrote our future for today. For we are no longer headed for self-destruction. We have arrived. And until we change, we take our children at 3 and 4 years old and allow them to listen to this type of rap music. Yes, it is the very core that will destroy their mind by the time they're 13 and 14 years old. This is why I got a 15-year-old girl throwing up this sign right here that we all see the young ladies doing, saying it's a peace sign, but it's a gang sign. She's been in jail since before Thanksgiving of last year for gang affiliation. All this is promoted by rap music. Rap music has made our children comfortable with using the N-words toward us, and we're accepting it as a word of honor and respect. Even myself slip up and say it now. I'm training myself to eliminate that word out of my mouth. And not only has it made us in a deep mental state of slavery, it made our young women taking the B's and H word as a word of honor and respect.
Okay, so
not only,
brother, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I did have a question to ask you. When you're talking about rap music, and because this seems to be a point of contention, right? Because myself, I am of the age of rap music, right? So when we're talking about rap music and what our children are listening to, when are we going to put a responsibility on the parent? Because I can recall when I was growing up, I could not even purchase or listen to or watch anything that was explicit, right? But nowadays, children are able to basically listen to and watch whatever they want to, and the programming is now changed, whereby sexually explicit stuff is being shown in broad daylight, in daytime programming. I mean, so the parents have to work. We have to send our kids to school. How, at what point in time do we say, okay, parents, this is what you need to do in order to structure your children, and to later on is on them and not the kids, right? What they're listening to should be is a parent's choice. So if the parents are allowing their children to listen to these things at an age that's not appropriate, then I wouldn't put the blame on rap music, because somebody grown may think it's appropriate for them at that age, but for a child it may not be. So that's a parent's choice, what you allow to come into your home or be in your child's arena. I give you time to go ahead and answer the question: is it the parents' fault or is it rap music?
Well, it's both, in my opinion, because first of all, most of the parents today are playing this same type of music when they riding down in the road with their kids in the back. You know what I'm saying? They're playing the same type of music, the children in the back, just like we don't understand. Your children will be some form of reflection of you. Like my daughter graduated in December as an RN. She don't listen to that rap music. Not that type of music, what she may do when she's not around me, but she has structure. It's both, because the parents are put down some rules and regulations to stop their children from listening to this or doing it themselves. I see guys on Facebook playing music, all this music on their lives, with this music, cussing and all this, and their children running around in the house. Yes, then if the parents and the children, remember, the parents used to be children. They grew up in that same environment. So as parents, we should want our children to be better than us, to exceed us in life, not to be like us.
But Brother Worthy, that still does not answer. You say that the parents have to accept responsibility, but we still goes back to the original question: is how do we stop the police coming into our communities and chastising our children? What's our solution for that? So I'm gonna go to Brother Jojo. I see Brother Jojo is on the panel right now, and I know he doesn't have a lot of time. So go ahead, Brother Jojo, chime in on this conversation. Brother Jojo?
Hello?
Yeah, Jojo, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes,
you can? Okay, y'all can hear me. Okay, please let me know. All right. Peace to everyone. I just wanted to say real quickly that based on what we're talking about, I think losing sight of what's so important in this situation is right there in front of us. Like our financial situation, the situation that we're in, all comes from one source and one source only. And that's a systematic system in place to harm us, that is scientifically induced through music, through arts. There's 9 areas of activity that we're dominated in. I think we're talking about, one of the people alluded to rap or something like that. There's other areas of activity that we're totally dominated in that don't even have nothing to do with rap. We're what we're called. We're one of the we're displaced in our mindsets when it comes to understanding white supremacy to its totality. Like people see bits and pieces of it, but consciously, on a broad scale, a lot of our people do not understand what white supremacy is. White supremacy plays both sides in the argument. That's just like we got brothers right now in jail, because they were doing the right thing, but you got a system by taking resources from other people. You know, so when we go to the ghettos, we wasn't just put there by mistake. Our resources were taken and deprived, and we were still being systematically pushed back on by other people that are put in place, that are employed in these positions to do the same thing. Yeah, a couple of people might get by, a couple of people might get past, but that's only to get us to not say that there's no racism nowhere. Everything, our people are in this situation because of the racialized issues, because of our skin color. But a lot of the people that come amongst us that are not like, you know, don't understand what this fight is on Black American soil. A lot of those people come amongst us and they play against us. We see that a lot of our problems have been coming from people that say that down.
No, my brother JoJo's coming in and out right now, so we're gonna go ahead and yeah, he fell off. So hopefully my brother can come back in. So yeah, he was making very valid points as well. We all understand the systemic racism that has held us in this place, but we still have to answer the question: how do we move past that? We know that we know that it exists, but how do we get the police about our communities? I'm gonna go back to the article. I'm gonna go back to the article real quick, and we're gonna get some more statistics because this is alarming to me, right? Studies found that 54% of defendants are in fact victims of official misconduct, and 34% of the cases involve police officer misconduct. Studies also concluded that of the 2,400 individuals exonerated, 80% of exoneration cases, 80% of them were for violent felonies, and 93 of those innocent defendants were sentenced to death and later cleared. So that means that if they were not, if someone hadn't taken their case up, they would have been put to death and they were innocent, all because of a faulty, felonious arrest. It starts with the police. We gotta figure out how we stop engaging with the police. I was hoping the brother OC the Great would have been on here tonight, but I don't see him backstage and I don't see him in the chat. But you know, we have to drive on these streets, and a lot of these arrests and a lot of these false charges are coming by way of traffic stops, right? So I was hoping that my brother OC could spoke on that notion because he had some hands-on experience with that. So if anyone on the panel or anyone in the chat has had an acquaintance with the police and have something to share with us, a testimony to share with us, and how you were able to actually be here alive today to tell your story, please let me know. Anybody on the panel?
I have a story, man.
Say what?
I have a story, man.
All right, so let's go.
I'm not the police out in New Orleans, but
hey, well, go on. Let's get with Brother Major. Go on and let's hear your testimony, brother, because I wasn't quite sure if you wanted to, but yours is very profound. I don't mind talking about it. Enlighten the people. Let's go, Major.
I won't lie. I gave somebody a ride to Walmart like 12 years ago, and it was stealing. When I picked up the police guys and what have you, and it was a situation where they were trying to rough me up, and I'm like, I didn't steal them. I just dropped them all, pick me up. Now, to me personally, I did panic, right? Because how they was handling me, right? And I clicked, and I knocked out a police, and before you know it, it was all over me. But it was like I went to trial, and I beat a lady because they wound up coming. It happened in St. Bernard Parish, but they followed me in Orleans. So in my mind, it was lost. So I know it's not an extra circumstance. That was what we call state line without calling the police. So once I got to New Orleans and they pulled me over and whatnot, They didn't taser me. They didn't shoot me. They beat me with the baton and they hit me with some legs to the end, But I think God was with me, so that's why and died nothing like that. And I was able to file a lawsuit. One officer was killed. Excuse me, he was on fire, but it was like one black officer and 5 police. But that was the most horrific situation. But growing up, when police to pull me over, I used to be nervous. I got older. I realized you just gotta just be calm. I've been hot at times, and they put me over, and nothing happens. I think a lot of times we do panic. We are scared of police, and a lot of times they do things like I remember when I first bought my Avalanche truck, and it was like I don't know, about 10 years ago. They pulled me over because I had a T-tag. You got a T-tag, when you first buy a truck, they'll pull you over. And I told the white dude, like, hey, man, he had the dogs and everything sit on like a surgery on a vehicle. I said, no, I know my rights. He had a dog sniff the truck. He said he got 9 spots or whatever. And it told my truck. I went through my luggage and stuff. And then they let me go. But they do so many things as far as pulling us over. And knowing that they really have the right to pull us over, and then a lot of us panic when can they search the car? And some people be hot, they be having guns that's not legal, drugs or what have you. It may not be a whole quantity, but they be so scared they say yeah, and they search their vehicles, But I said to say this, Jim, a lot of time we panic. A lot of time, we be scared, and I ain't gonna lie, that's the way you want to fight the police. I was scared. I know I didn't do nothing, and I know I look guilty because I'm with somebody that stole something. And unfortunately, you just have a lot of cops that's trigger happy, particularly on white cops, you know what I'm saying? But they don't exclude black cops. When I was coming up, a lot of black cops was killing people in the projects in New Orleans, You should know about that in Magnolia as well as Zion, in different projects and what have you. So make a long story short, a lot of times we be scared. And then a lot of times we don't know our 4th Amendment right. We don't know our 5th Amendment right. We don't know on our 6th Amendment right. We don't know that, and I ain't learned until I went to prison and became a paralegal. So it's just a thing whereas it's a scary experience when you learn about or know about how they pull over black people, make it seem like it's one thing. It can be a mystery, like some mind they pull you over, but really they want to search your vehicle. They really want to try to, lock you up, whatever. Because we always have a target on our back. So for me, I just feel like a lot of us, we don't know better. A lot of us are scared. Some of us are hot driving or illegal, license might be suspended, might don't have insurance or whatever case might be, right? And a lot of times officers don't even have, a right, like in New Jersey, right? Not take a long time. New Jersey Turnpike, man, they had to file a big lawsuit because they was just pulling black people over, right? And it was like just harassing. Now they was making some drug busts, but a lot of time, a lot of black people wasn't doing anything. Had a big old lawsuit and they stopped it, but it was happening for years, even down there in Florida. So this thing about driving while black and being racially profiled is real. That's why so many our people are so scared and they respond. And not a lot of times you notice when we see somebody get shot, killed, or beat, it don't never really be a big thing that black people are doing towards them. It's just the fact that they're just showing a reaction to the police, like, why you mess with me? And they blow up into something very serious.
Thank you for sharing that, Brother Major. Our sister Yana in the chat, peace and blessings, sisters, for coming through. Yana says a lot of our brothers are racially profiled. They don't necessarily have to break the law to be victimized by law enforcement, and that is so true. Which brings me to back to the news article that you have all of these innocent people right now sitting on death row. I don't know if a lot of you keep up with the news, but you have to be living under the rock to know that Congress is about to be having to come to come to Jesus moment in regards to the debt ceiling. Imagine if they don't increase the debt ceiling, and they start having people being furloughed, not having a paycheck. A lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck. What if we start having evictions because we don't have a paycheck, we can't pay the rent, and you have all of these teenagers out a school, nothing to do. Disenfranchised, nothing to do, nowhere to go. It's hot. People are hungry. And our good Governor DeSantis is of the mind frame that you need to have protesters stay in check. You cannot protest these rules and these regulations that we're putting on you. You have to stay within these bounds, these boundaries that we're giving you, even though we're choking the life out of you. What do we do when we have situations such as about to come? If the debt ceiling is not taken care of, our people are going to be struggling, and the police are going to be let loose to bring in order. These are the things that our people need to start thinking about when we're talking about unification and we're talking about economic, improving our economic situation, and not having to deal with panicking every time the police are around. Who can speak to that? What are we going to do in dire state? Because we got two individuals here that have legal defense funds, and we have also brothers and sisters that need aid right now. What do we do? Who wants to grab the mic?
Let me say this. I said on my channel a long time ago, and I wasn't saying a lot. We're afterthought people. We wait that after something happened, then we get all emotional instead of being a before thought people. We are not prepared for nothing. There's been an all out of war in South Harlem Black community. This is the day that we've been in captivity, and since they so-called freed us, and we have not took the powers that be serious. You know, we seen and we learn. When I say we seen, we know about or learned about great black towns and what have. Just in the states, we're going to states. We want to talk about that, right? And we knew what they did and how they did it. Time was different. I don't think it was that different, but it was different. It was way more blatant. It was made way more violent in so many ways, but it's still the same. It's just in a different way. And even back then, even though we probably was not as many as we are now, we still haven't taken the situation we're in seriously. We just haven't. And thinking about what Joe was talking about, we talking about the 9 factors. With Nilla Phillip talking about this book, and he's talking about the systematic aspect, you know, isolating, rap and all that. That's just one thing of it. You know what I'm saying? We have so many problems. And the biggest problem, we refuse to create our own government. With all the great minds, with all the great leaders, with all the money we have. We have yet to have a real organized, and I don't use the word union, I'm gonna say government, a committee for the people. We got too many Indians, we got too many chiefs and less, too many on chiefs and very few Indians. Everybody won't leave, but you can't get everybody in the same room. But the powers that be beef all the time, but they come together to make sure they control you. But we have to take this fight serious. So one thing I'm trying to say is, it's not a one answer type situation that can address this. But of course, we need unity. But I think we miss more than anything in our community. We miss a lot of love. You know what I'm saying? We miss a lot of togetherness in the sense of just working together. We do a whole lot of talking. After that, it be that. You know, and it's just sad because the stuff you're talking about, the kids and all that, that's our responsibility to take care of our kids because we already know how the government feel about them. But we don't have the mindset and the structure to do so. And those who do, they're very few and they don't get the support, but they just do what they can do. But it's a big old problem we took for granted for years. We have been at war and black people have really took it for granted. And for those who was very extreme, you seen what they did with them. We talk too much online about too many things we shouldn't talk about, and we're not as strategic behind the scenes. And with all the powerful people that we know in our community that have a verse, they have yet to really bring it all together and stuff like that. So I digress just saying that. It's very, very deep. And a simple discussion like this is not going to really address everything. It can be a start, but we really have to just put boots on the ground.
And I agree with that. And that being said, Major, you brought up a very valid point once again, about being prepared, right? And that's why I was saying that, with the summer coming up, how are we going to start preparing ourselves? Are we going to continue to say we're going to trust in lawyers that we never met before? Or are we going to start building an alliance of lawyers that we know will go to bat for us, right? In a time of need. Brother Worthy mentioned, the Black Panther Party and Brother Malik Shabazz. He is an attorney, but unfortunately, maybe he's been blackballed. But I really haven't seen any the cases that he's taken on and help move the needle in. I'm thinking of when the Black Panther Party for self defense really defended the communities, and it was like, they weren't letting anyone come in the community that wasn't really for the community or part of the community. So I know that Brother Worthy, has inside track on that, but we haven't heard from Sister Lisa Rice. Sister Lisa, we thank you again for joining us, and if you want to go ahead and take the mic and give us your input on the topics that we've been discussing. Number one, how do we change the behavior of our children? Number two, how do we instill a sense of community within ourselves? And then number three, how do we keep our economics in our community so that we can afford to police ourselves and keep the police out of our affairs? Go ahead, my sister. I'll unmute your mic.
Oh, absolutely. Such a beautiful conversation. I just want to say peace and love to everyone in the room and in this space. This is the perfect topic, and I'll just jump right in. So for me, I did have the opportunity to become a state trooper. I actually scored an 860 out of 1,000 on the exam in 2001. I didn't like the direction that it was going. I was going to let those people turn me into a weapon against my own community. So I ended up going the back way, and I got into security, and I still did that a certain way to help out with our community. And a lot of times I would find that I would get locked out of positions because I wouldn't use my background to police at my community. Even the children, I would say, no, I'm here for you. Don't become a problem yourself, because then, I got to do something about that. But no, I'm not here to police you. I'm here to protect you because you matter for the event you want to have. And going forward for this summer, I'm going to use that same strategy to help out in my community where I live. Because here's the thing, not all of us are broken. I remember I heard that being mentioned earlier, correct? So for those of us who have not been beat by the system, who do not have the slave mentality, we are the ones who have to get it started. Even though there's little pockets of us, even though there's little enclaves of us, we are all still spread out and we are all connected here, and we all found each other right now today, right? So with this small strategy that I have, because I learned too, just from getting into my own business, that people don't really care for who I was around. When I say people, I only mean my target market of my own community of people. What I was finding is that people were not that concerned about organic skincare products if they don't feel good mentally, emotionally, and on a spiritual, level. Having that self-love, having that good race esteem. I heard that on Twitter. I can't take credit for it, but someone said we need to have good race esteem. So helping to put that love back inside of our people will help us to get to the point where we will give a damn about ourselves and our communities again and our children. So just going, this summer, going outside and just having regular conversation with those who I feel is safe that I can walk up to and just get the vibe. How are they feeling? How are they thinking? Be the voice of the community. And I'm going to get out here and play with these babies again, too. I remember how to double dutch. So I'm going to twirl and show the girls what they can do that doesn't involve being too grown up online. We said childhood is short. Someone said that earlier. Yeah, it is. And it's precious and it needs to be protected. Just yesterday, outside of my window, we have a white family that moved in our community that wasn't there before. And they're there now ever since all this migrants and whatnot. The white boy was outside with a toy gun running at our babies like he was shooting at them. And what made me go to the window is because I heard the kind of screaming that didn't sound fun. Yes, I'm an adult, and they'd be like, oh, well, we're just playing, but so what? I still remember what it's like to be a child, and that wasn't innocent. And I stopped that boy from doing that. I yelled it right out of my window. So it's just so much like what everybody has already been saying about people in the communities. A lot of them are kind of, in broken states right now, and we do need that love. So I'm just going to start there. And whoever I need to report the findings back to, that's who I'll report it to, so we can just get things started and be a little bit more connected, because then that will help us get to the point where we care more about our economics, and then we can start getting information to people that shows us how to police our own communities. And there's more that we could do too, but I want other people to talk.
My sister, thank you so much for that. And I want to applaud you for stepping out there and saying, I'm going to put boots on the ground, and this is what I'm going to do. Because what you said was very, very important, moving us forward with changing the mindset of our children. And that starts with real grown up engagement on the level that they can understand, but not have it be offensive. We have to meet our children where they're at, but yet at the same time let them know that we're here to guide them and love on them, not necessarily just being their friends. So with that being said, I want to go bring it back, roundtable back to Mr. Worthy. I see you're still here, so once again, you've heard a lot of people say it's not just rap. Have you come? Have you come full circle on yielding on the rap part and focusing more on how do we keep these police out of our communities and keep their hands off of our children? We left off with you agreeing that adults have to take responsibility. Now with your testimony, with your engagement with police, help us to understand how we can keep our young men out of the clutches of the police. And I'll unmute your mic.
Okay, well, all that was said was wonderful and great and does play a part of it. And then notice I didn't say rap music is the only thing. Our rap music is the core. The core is surrounded by a whole lot of land. So the core of it, I've watched children autopsies and looked at these young boys killed by the police. I've seen the bodies of Ahmaud Arbery, of Kendrick Johnson. I've been involved in all these cases, and everything you said and everything everybody said is wonderful. Isn't it great? And it's right, but it does not. It all goes back to one thing: the mindset. Unity, the mindset. If you don't change the mindset of anyone, even the police, and if you notice, I've said in beginning that if the police or come up with legislation to make the police, to make all law enforcement officers have at least a bachelor's degree, because you can be the evilest person in the world. You can hate white folks, you can hate black folks, but educated people handles situations way different and more professional than those people with the brains the size of a BB toting a firearm. But it all goes back to the mindset, regardless. Unity, economics, and all that. Mindset. If you ain't got the mindset with it, the body is going to follow with the mind at. And until we change the mindset, ain't none of this going to happen.
Okay, well, hold on. Okay, brother, I heard that. So we're going right back to the mindset, but we still haven't heard how we change the mindset. Sister Dee, come on in and tell us how can we change the mindset so we can break the mental chains of slavery so that we get the police out of our neighborhoods. Sister Dee? Okay, so I think she might have stepped away. So Quest Man, you got the mic. Oh, there go. I unmute you, my brother. Go ahead.
212. I'm muted.
Yep, gotcha. You unmuted now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
I can hear you now.
Hello?
I hear you.
All right, there we go.
I'm sorry. I was muted that time. I can hear you, my brother. Go ahead.
To begin with, responding, what would change the mindset? There's nothing else that can possibly change another person's mindset except by authentic action. Without any authentic action, nobody's mind will change. You know, if you show something to someone, you know, it's more convincing than if you tell something to someone. You know, like they say, show me the money, not tell me about the money. Show me the money. If we look at the way of our ancestors, one of the things that we noticed that whenever something was to be suggested or whenever there was an effort to move the hearts and minds of people, they didn't come empty-handed. They came bearing gifts. The word for that would be incentive. So as I was mentioning earlier about the nature of unity, see, you know, one of the things about establishing action is that you do the action and along the way, the children come to know. You understand? You know, as parents, it's the obligation of the parents to pass down the knowledge to the children, not the other way around. We can't sit there and say the children should do this, the children should do that, and we're the parents who should be ordering them or demonstrating the actions that compel them to do what we're saying they should be doing. So, for example, let's say rap music was something that has to go. Then it has to be the adults that demonstrate that in a unified way. Or if it's not something to go, but rather something that needs to be reformed or restructured or revolutionized, then we have to have the adults to demonstrate that action. Not only that, but you can't just take something away from people. Like I said, you can't just say, everybody, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. We need incentive. People need incentive. If you look at our ancestors, they came bearing gifts. You understand? They came to the king bearing gifts, or the king came to the people bearing gifts, giving them the proper motivation to say, hey, he means business. He's serious. See, here's the alternative if we don't unify. If we don't unify, then we have no other option but to accept police brutality. Perhaps in that condition, you know, we might see that in our suffering is a reality check. There's only two ways. Either we unify in a realistic sense. I'm not talking about, you know, scholastic where we're sitting here talking fancy words. I'm talking about actual demonstrations of unity, not just marching and banners. It may mean that we meet that people, brothers and sisters, wherever you be, you may have to relocate to a community of like-minded individuals. There's a saying that I've learned in my practice. It says, find a community of God-conscious people. And if you cannot find such a community, then find a tree and stay there till you die. Implying that, you know, that old saying, birds of a feather flock together. We can't, you know, it's nice that we are in the using technology to, you know, gather together and have these conversations. But it's not the same thing as physical being amongst each other as a community, where we can manifest authority amongst each other and say that, well, in this community, like the brother was talking about, you know, self-governance and things of that nature, in this community, we say what goes, what doesn't go based upon the collective interest. In that community, the things that would be shameful or abhorrent are removed. And you, in that community, becomes the example that everyone else looking in from the outside will follow. Anything else outside of this kind of unity, physical. See, Merkabah means mind, body, and soul. You can't separate the mind from the body from the soul. You could pretend and be out of your mind and thus not listen to, you know, the inspiration of the soul, but it's all still one. You understand? So no matter how we, you know, spin that wheel, we have to physically demonstrate the actions and not just think about it, not just talk about it enough so that hopefully some youth somewhere will get the picture sometime and think that some rainy day it just clicks. It's not going to happen like that. We have to do things.
So,
Boots on the ground is doing something. Coming together, relocating is doing something.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right, brother. So what you're saying is that if we had a location where we can house all of those individuals who are like-minded, who want to be gathered together, that will solve our problem, because we can then put rules and regulation, i.e. a constitution, in place that will govern the way that we move and live amongst each other. So
that will plant the seed.
I would like to say that just for a show of hands, we're gonna have a poll here with the people that's on the panel, people that's in the chat. If we had 100 acres and we was just given to us, and we say we're gonna rope off this 100 acres, gate off, wall off this 100 acres. I'm moving. You're gonna get up and move to, let's say it's in Kentucky. Everybody's going to go live in Kentucky. We're gonna go round table. I vote for the sake of community and being amongst like-minded people, and out from under the oppressor's constitution. I vote yes. All right, Major, you're up.
Nah, I had to do my research and what have you. I'm not a person that do nothing impromptu like that, because no matter where you go, they still control everything. So I have to definitely look into that and see what's going on, what have you, because I feel like if we can't function normally in society and survive, imagine if we get our own land and whatnot, how we are now. You know, it's some basic things that we lack as far as how to govern, how to run a city or what have you, or a town, financial literacy aspect and politics and whatnot. So me personally, I would like us to be organized before we get it, not just get it and just jump into it. I think that'd be disastrous.
Now notice I said, Major, I said land in a constitution. Land in a constitution where we govern ourselves, right? Land in a constitution. Would you go for it?
No, I keep telling you.
Okay,
let me finish.
Okay.
I'm just saying you can have all that, but you haven't established that body of government and having people in a certain mindset, like the brother talking about, because we talking about mindsets. You know what I'm saying? We talking about mindsets. We don't see the positive imagery. We don't see a lot of love in our community. We don't see a lot of giving. It's a mindset. You know what I'm saying? That's why the way we are now. They say it take a village to raise a child. We're not good at making sure that our community is safe, all right, and so forth, so on.
All right,
so
we got 1 for and 1 for not moving to the 100 acres plus the Constitution. All right, so with that, I say, I'm going to just give you a little pushback, Major. I say we got to get the people to come before we can get the people in this Constitution, in the governing bodies, right? So we're going to move on to Miss Sister Dee. Come on in. Sister Dee has something to say.
Yes, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you, sister.
Hello. Oh, thank you. Okay, my thing is this. Y'all bear with me, please. Okay, my thing is this. In order to get ready to fight a monster, you must be ready to become one. Okay? So get back to, like I was saying earlier, and I'm going to piggyback off of Major. I agree with him, as far as relocating and stuff. If we're where we're currently at, I would definitely 1,000% say we shouldn't. And not enough of us are unified. I look at our brother, Otha Wallace, BKA Ozone. He's been dealing with his case for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years next month on the 21st. It'll be 2 years. And just the small amount of monies we have raised for him, okay? And then I look at what happened to our brother, Joy Neely. What happened to him was on May 1st. Already, that man that choke held him, the monster that murdered him, okay, they've raised over 2 million. And I spoke with Ozone last Friday, 4 days ago, and he's so grateful for just a little bit that has been raised. He's like literally grateful. And he was telling me, how thankful he is. My thing is, we don't value Black lives, period. We don't. Again, looking at Ozone's situation compared to so many atrocities that these people that are against us, these adversaries that are against us, even when they're at fault of murdering our people, their people are still supporting them. Dylan Roof, the one that killed our brothers and sisters, they raised 4 million, knowing that this murderous bastard went into that church and slaughtered our people. $4 million was raised for his legal defense. Okay? I'm not going to sit up here and speculate or even really talk much about Ozone's situation, but I can say this. We're not even at 100,000 with the PLAP organization. So once we start, first and foremost, loving and accepting ourselves, that would teach us to love and accept people that look like us. Not to say that, we all have to get along, we have to be in this perfect circle. No, we don't. All races, all groups of people have their differences, indifferences, have their fallouts. But when it comes down to one goddamn thing, one thing only, when it comes down to grouping together, when it comes down to supporting each other, all of these other groups of people, races, if you will, are on code. They're on code. I look at Ozone's situation, and again, that shows me how close we are. And not just Ozone's situation, it's so many other situations out there, okay, involving our people. But there's no one coming together as a collective. Not enough of us fighting together against this oppression that we're dealing with on a daily basis. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought okay. But that's what I'm saying. And I'm going to tell y'all something else. And a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I'm going to keep it 100. Y'all want to hear 100? I do better. I'm going to keep it 1,000. Reparations? Nah, I'm against it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because to me, reparations is just like a family, Black family, family member, loved one, if you will, getting killed by the police. And what do? They wait around for that check. To me, we need to come together collectively like all these other groups. That's how you get your reparations. It's coming together. That's how you get your reparations, because where we at right now, if you give a whole bunch of Black folks, and I'm just saying it politely, millions of dollars, what would happen? At this point, where we're at currently, we would actually give it back to the Europeans. We would give it back to the Asians. We would give it back to the Arabs, because that's what we're doing now.
Well,
Black folk.
thank you.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I thank you for that, my sister. I don't want to get too much off the topic, but as far as the topic of Brother O, yes, he is facing the death penalty, and he is a brother that
Yes.
had an encounter with a state actor, right? And so we've come to find out that particular state actor doesn't have a squeaky clean past when it comes to policing our community, because I do believe in Daytona Beach, Florida, we are the majority in that area. And so so he had a very, very he had a record, and let's say that, with harassing or making false arrests and illegally detaining citizens of the community. And it's unfortunate that, like, I said in my article, we don't know why he decided to approach our brother, but yeah, I do believe that our brother is a victim of unwanted police engagement, which brings me back to my original question. And I say again, I'm going to take the poll. We now have two for not moving in a community, 100,000 acres, 100 acres with a constitution in hand, and offerings for our people to come together so we can get a governing body, so we can begin to police our own people. We got 2 no's and we got 1 for. So I'm going to go to Brother Abdul. What say you?
Repeat that again, because I had heard the last part, but my key was typing.
If you want to come into the 100,000 acres and be with the Constitution in one place, I'm gonna say it's Kansas City. We're going to Kansas City. We got 100,000 acres, and we got a Constitution. We just need the people to come so we can build a governing body, sort of like the founding fathers of these United States of America did.
Let me okay, I get. See, when Musa, Moshe, as you call him, peace be upon him, went out into the wilderness, one of the things he saw in the distance was the flames of a burning bush, and it was its luminosity that attracted his attention. Had the bush not been burning, he would probably not have noticed it, right? So what I'm saying here is there's stages to this. Okay, I mentioned at the beginning that like-minded individuals come. Not everybody is like-minded. Some people have a desire for change. Some people have a desire for a different standard of living. Some people even have a desire for unity. But what that means differs from person to person in our community in this land. What I believe in is things that are true and tried, that have been applied ancestrally, that have been applied even to other communities today. When you see something that works, you have to wonder at its application. I gave an example in the chat here. For example, when a Somali brother or sister comes over here to the States, they don't go to the Mexican community. They don't go to they don't even go to the Ghanaian community or the Gambian community. They go directly to the Somali community. They know where to go, and they fit right in, and they do what they need to do to participate in the activities of the community. So what I'm saying here is the builders are the ones who initiate what goes on. It's the builders that have to agree to go and actually do, because not everybody, like you heard one brother, this isn't something that he feels should be done, and he's right in his thinking. But what I'm suggesting is that people who are foundation builders, yeah, we have risks, we have threats, we have dangers among the adversaries who historically have thwarted every effort that we've ever done to do anything sociable, economic, you name it. We know that, but we are in different times. We do have different tools at our disposal. We do have different resources at our reach that we didn't have before. Back in the Tulsa, Oklahoma situation, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have ability to obtain alliances from here and abroad of people who feel for our interests. You understand? We're a lot stronger than meets the eye. I know it seems like we are broken and busted up over here, but I've done some looking and observation of different groups from here and abroad. I was just looking at, for example, some of the militant forces across the seas, and you'd be surprised at how strong some of these bodies are. But the media and what mainstream media would never tell you about this. We are stronger than you may think. The problem is we are also egotistical. You understand? We are also a people who want our banner to be at the top of the mountain. What's that?
Abdul, so you're voting for the land in Kansas or not?
With strategy, not just heedless or not just, in some kind of random way.
That's what the Constitution is for. Okay, so yeah. Mr. Bobby Worthy, what say you?
No, because it goes back to the mindset. I'm always saying, wherever the mind is, that's where the body gonna be. The body might be in the Constitution. The body might be on the land. But if the mindset ain't that, it ain't gonna work.
Let me say something. The analogy that Abdul gave is an analogy of people that have a culture. We don't have a culture. We don't have it. That's why we the way we are. You can't compare no group, even people are African compared to us. They know they was, we don't. That's why we so messed up. We so confused. We fight among each other. Listen, I was a truck driver. I stopped. Well, I ain't say I stopped. I decided to take on a journey with finding out about our community. Everybody know my story about GMG, how I met him, what have you. And I watch our people act an ass. You feel me? We be talking about the powers that be. A lot of times we hurt ourselves, even though it could be changing from psychological slavery that Naeem Iqbal talked about. We do a lot of hurting ourselves. We don't know how to love each other because a lot of us don't know how to love ourselves. There's nothing wrong with thinking big. We watch one of the longest standing organizations, Nation Islam. You know, we watched them for years, how they got organized, but still not where they should be at. And there's a reason why. But I'm saying to say this here. It's not like I'm against it. We gotta prove we can do it now. Look.
How?
Listen. All right, I'm gonna tell you how. We should have a school to teach the people. We should have a store to feed the people. We should have a hospital to heal the people. We should have a bank to invest in the people. Simple as that. We don't have that in our communities. See, my problem is people already tried separating themselves. We forgot. And I'm talking about not just years ago. I'm talking about current ages. It didn't happen in this country. We single ourselves out. We easily be targeted. We don't know how to infiltrate. We're not strategical. We're very emotional because until we learn something, we want to run our mouth. And that's not, I mean, like one brother say, that's not a revolution they're doing in the United States revolution, what they're doing in Africa with Gaddafi, with Fidel Castro did in Cuba and what have you. We don't have them now because of the Martins and the Marcus Gardens. We don't have them no more. We have a bunch of people that know some things. We have some people that know some things, and we have some new people that's finding out some things and throwing a whole bunch of stuff out there, but have no real structure and not really trying to do something. And those who do got structures, like you said, may have ego problems. Some of them may be in the box by themselves with the community not supporting. But I'm just saying, prove it now. Why can't we do it now? Our community hurt largely because we're not doing our part. We're just not doing our part. We said it, pointing the finger at them. We point the finger at them, 3 fingers pointing at us.
Right.
We
and that's why right. I got you, Major. And that's why I say it's very important for us to understand that it's gonna take the community to put forth that to bring forth that education center, that health and wellness center, that recreational center. You got to start somewhere. You got to have something to offer the people to help them or to entice them to want to come. Like Abdul said, incentivize the people, right? And then you go from there. Rome wasn't built in a day. But I got my sister, Miss Watchman, just joining us on the panel, so I want to let her go ahead and speak her mind. Peace and blessings, Miss Watchman. Shalom, sister. I'm sorry, sister. Go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, my sister. Your mic is unmuted. Hey, sister, Miss Watchman, are you there? Can you hear us? Peace and blessings, my sister. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, my sister? Are you there? Can you hear us?
Uh, unfortunately, I'm going to have to use two different devices. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I can't hear anybody, so I'm going to back out and try to come back in.
Roger that. All right.
According,
Okay, brother Worthy. Brother Worthy, I'm sorry, Major. What were you saying?
we need to create jobs. We need to create opportunities. You know, I'm trying to open this warehouse, right? We need to think about first, bringing a lot of that in our community so we can, I mean, as well as educate, 'cause we was doing that back in the day, but we need to do that. So when we do talk about get land, whatever, we kind of got structure. A lot of times we're not creating our own jobs. We, are doing enough in our community, but we let other people come to our community and do what they do.
And that is so true. So I don't think I have a vote from Brother Worthy. Brother Worthy, let's get your vote in. Are you moving to
Uh,
Kansas with us? Let's get your vote in. Are you moving to Kansas with us with the
oh
hundred
no.
acres in the Constitution?
Well, I did say it. I don't know if anybody heard me. I said no, because the fact is, it goes back to what I'm saying. The mind. If the mindset hadn't changed, no matter where the body, if the body is in the structure, if the body is in the government, the Constitution, the mind ain't there, then it's not gonna work.
All right, all right. So now I'm going to Miss Lisa. Sister Lisa, what you say? What say you? Is Sister Lisa still with us, or is she just stepped away? All right. Brother Ken in the chat, what say you? Put a 7 in the chat if you're going with us, Brother Ken. Sister 7 in the chat. Sister 7 in the chat. Put a 7 in the chat if you're going with us to Kansas. 100 acres in the Constitution. Soul Journey of Life, he said he's going with me. Thank you, my brother, for going with me.
And this ain't no joke, man. Y'all with the fancy Island stuff, man. This ain't no joke. This is some real
No.
serious
Seriously,
people.
this is. I just wanted to
You got
give
that
you.
much of land right now? You got a constitution
Listen.
right now?
Now, listen what I'm saying to y'all, and I want y'all to hear me clearly. You have to start with something. So if you come up with a plan that says, "Hey, we have strategically spotted out these acres of land, and we have eyeballed it. This is how much it costs, and this is how many people we need to invest." And those people who invest in that property, those are the people that you want to rock with, because it like with anything, you don't appreciate it if you don't have no skin in the game. So if people are steady putting money in the pot to help get that land, and at the same time you're doing things simultaneously, you're working on the Constitution, you're working on identifying those individuals who can run a school, who can run the agriculture department, who can run the defense department. That's our military or our law enforcement. We're working on people that can run our municipal offices. And then once we got all these people identified at the same time, saving towards purchasing that land, then that's the plan. But if we keep saying we ain't gonna do it, or we can't do it, or we never gonna do it, or we can't come together, and making all these excuses as to why we can't, then it will never be done. And one thing that I want to say that's very important: one, if we do find a need that we can get these people that can go along with committing to investing in getting an area for ourselves, then we're not going to have this conversation online, and that will be for sure. We're not going to do it online. We'll do it offline, and then we'll come back and let everybody know how that worked out. So maybe we can have multiple 100 acres of communities all over this place, so we can keep. The idea is to keep law enforcement out of our communities, out of our lives, because this thing is getting very ridiculous, and we got governors that are giving police departments red lights to just trample all over our First and Fourth Amendment rights. And somebody got to say enough is enough. If we keep being party of their system to their system, and we never pull out of their system, then we can't complain when they're shooting us in the back, or just harassing us on the street.
Are you listening to yourself? Are you really listening to yourself?
That's a rhetorical question. So
no, I'm asking you. I'm saying you making it about what you think we should do. It's supposed to be open panel discussion, right? Discussing you and the whole thing we should do. Blah blah blah. Listen, and I'm telling you what was real. It's better to act on an idea than have an idea. All that's cool and dandy talking public about what you want to do. But you haven't put that down in black and white. You haven't started underground campaign to deal with the real people. You're dealing with people that you don't even really even know like that. And you're throwing something out there publicly like everybody gonna gravitate. At our age right now, we should at least identify who's sincere, who's real, and whatnot. And I don't think they have a lot of sincere, real ones out there. And the little time I've been doing YouTube stuff, there's a lot of fake stuff going on, and you know it too. So I don't know what you're looking at, what's going on, but this ain't for no YouTube. This is behind the scenes of really putting together, not talking about it, comparing to people, say, yeah, let's do it, and blah, blah, blah. And next day, a year later, we still talking about it.
Anything that will be successful starts with an idea, and an idea, when you get that idea, you start to come about with a plan. And I'm just one person, and that's why I'm putting for my idea to the panel. So I got Miss Watchman behind stage. So let's see if she can have her audio on now. Are we good now, Miss Watchman?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
If we had the land to move and the government in place, I wouldn't have a problem with loading up and moving. We've got to get started somewhere to show our other brothers and sisters that we have the ability to do this. Our community suffers from the Willie Lynch letter syndrome. A lot of people don't even know about this. He said, you teach them to dislike one another because of how they look, because of how they sound. You teach the light one to hate the dark one. You teach the fat one to hate the skinny one, the short one to hate the tall one. And you teach them to distrust one another and not to trust anybody except you. And that is still the problem with our community until this day. He said, you do that and you'll have yourself a slave for at least the next 300 years. It's been more than 300 years. And our people are still enslaved in their minds. Reparations isn't just about financial compensation. It's about undoing every wrong that you have done to a people. And if they tell the truth about the reason that our people truly dislike one another and distrust one another, then that brings back our unification once it really soaks and sets into the minds of everybody within our community. But we've got to start somewhere. I know that Brother Questman has a mind like mine. I know that Brother Ken has a mind like mine. I know Brother Ozone thinks like I do. I know that Achoti Speaks think the same way that I do. We have like mindsets. We can get started with other individuals who have that exact same mindset. And then we can show our people that it can be done and they will join in slowly, one by one. But it can be done and we've got to start somewhere. I'm ready to go.
Thank you, Ms. Watchman. Thank you, sister. Thank you so much, Ms. Watchman, for that, because we have to start somewhere. And it starts with changing the mindset. Showing our brothers and sisters, yes, we can be landowners. Yes, we can self-govern. Like, come on, we're not wanting to be under the suppression of those that does not have our best interests at heart. So circling back to you, Brother Worthy, what say you?
Oh no, I'm not moving now. Got to change the mindset first. Like I keep saying, I mean, what everybody's saying is correct, and I agree with 100%.
You did say that. I don't mean to cut you off, brother. You did say that before. We got to change the mindset. How do we change the mindset? Where do we start? We got to change the mindset in the children. The mindset of the children have to be changed from the parents, because if the children, the parents are giving the children the mindset. So I think we probably need to start with the parents before we start with the children, because the parents are guiding the children. So if the parents are misguided, how can we expect for them to? Got the children.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. We got to start with the children, because most of the parents, what I was going to say is most of the parents are in that mindset. So we're going to be a reflection of our parents. So if your parents' mindset is not right, then the children's mindset definitely ain't going to be right. So yes, it's got to start with both. You know what I'm saying? We have to start with our children. And I know everybody, it's not the cool, like I said, rap music is not the main thing, but rap music is one of the things that is destroying the Black community. It promotes everything that's just the murder, rape, drugs. All this is promoted by rap music. We got grown men and women that say they conscious. I see it all the time on Facebook, but they throwing up gang signs. Why is you, excuse my language, why in the hell is you throwing up a gang sign when you ain't in a gang? It's because it's promoted by the damn rap music of today. The mindset is the key to everything. And everything everybody said is right. But we got to change the mindset.
So we need to get on the campaign of change your mind. So we're changing the mind. Changing the mind to what? So we need to stick together. We need to love each other. We need to come together with our resources and build. What's the mindset? See, that's
first of all, when you can get a child. All right, let me finish. First of all, when you can get a child, I was over my sister's house one day, and my nephew and his friends were playing the game. 14, 15, 16-year-old children. And I counted them. They said the N-word 114 times in less than 30 minutes. So when I asked my nephew, I said, man, you know, y'all, between y'all in less than 30 minutes, y'all said the N-word 114 times. You know what he said? Uncle Bobby, we Black. This what we do. Serious mental state of slavery. And that is all promoted by rap music. All of it is promoted by rap music. We might not change everything, but if we sanction rap music today as it is, and in 10 years, watch the Black on Black crime in itself, and the mindset of our people start changing.
Roger that. So, we have sanctioning rap music. We have loving on each other more. I say holding parents accountable. What else did we have? Pulling our resources together.
Economics.
Yeah, that's the resources pulling together. Did I miss anything from this grand conversation that we had? And definitely engaging with the young people. Yes, we definitely. Sister Lisa said she's going out this summer to engage with the young people, and I think that's leading by example, like Brother Y2 Kenyon said, lead by example. And so I think that we all should take Brother Worthy's advice and start with a child. Find someone to mentor. Even if it's in your own family, your niece or your nephew or someone, do something for someone else other than yourself. Which brings me back to our brother Othel Wallace and why it's imperative that we continue to support these legal defense funds. Brother Worthy, go ahead and give your legal defense fund once again. What is that again?
Well, it's the Justice League United. And maybe y'all don't know, and I can explain to them if we got time real quick, that the Ahmaud Arbery case, the Ahmaud Arbery case happened because of me. Because I'm the one that broke it to the news media. I am the one that got the district attorney, me and my co-defendant now is the one that got the district attorney, Jackie Johnson, indicted by filing the petition to the grand jury, and we addressed the Glenn County grand jury and had Jackie Johnson, the district attorney, for the role she played in the Ahmaud Arbery case, indicted and arrested. Second, we did this in Coffee County against a judge that overstepped his bounds. The DA had the district attorney that had the grand jury reverse the charges on us and indict us for falsifying documents. Now, me and my co-defendant, who's a former judge, are facing 10 years imprisonment, and we have our trial starting tomorrow in Coffee County, Georgia, where where they're trying to offer us 10 years. The trial starts tomorrow. But my thing is, and like y'all said, we need to pull our resources together and come together. In this movement, even with my involvement with all these organizations that know me and reach out for me for advice on legal issues and all this stuff. So they reach out for me. No one has helped me or even tried to help me. Well, we had to pay this attorney, former Minister Farrakhan's attorney, Kenneth Muhammad, to take our case so these people wouldn't send us to prison. No, all these guys is talking about we pulling together resources. Now one of them reached out to do a fundraiser for me. And what I've done is change the ball game. No longer we have to wait on prosecutors. No longer we have to wait on investigators. If I win this case, the world win this case. Now we can go straight to the grand jury. We don't have to wait on these people anymore. That's how important this case that I'm facing. But if I lose, then all of us lose.
Well, brother, you have my support and my prayers if you're praying, man. May the Most High be with you tomorrow in court. I wish that Brother Ken would have came on our panel so he could talk more about PLAP. But PLAP is a People's Legal Aid project where we're trying to raise funds for individuals who are, I will say, have been assaulted by police officers. And if you find yourself in the unfortunate position of having to defend yourself in court against these state actors, you would want to have a competent attorney. And so with PLAP, we're managing to raise funds for Otha Wallace's legal defense fund. He is facing the death penalty. And the Governor DeSantis, Ron DeSantis, has made it, by signing a bill, has made it absolutely easy for them to convict our brother and give him death penalty if we do not continue to support his legal defense fund. And so,
can I
go ahead, brother?
Well, I'd like to say something about Mr. Waller's case. All these guys, these attorneys, Lamb's calling, Chases is doing that. I go around, and I've been doing this for years. I have police officers arrested. I have unseated judges with the knowledge and things that I know that we as people can file without being a licensed attorney. I do have a law degree. I just don't practice because I believe the system is irreversibly broken. And I believe that in order to, if we attack the state bars that empowers the attorneys and judges, that is where organized crime begins, with the state bar of your state. So that's just who we need to start attacking. But there are certain things. Our most powerful thing as a non-lawyer to file is a writ of mandamus, a writ of habeas corpus, and a quanto warrant. These are our three most powerful things. And this is why I'm running for the Georgia State Conference president this year to use the platform of the NAACP, because they have a blick platform, to attack prison reform, to attack police brutality, and holding these guys accountable. And I'm going to say this to the panel. Now, I don't recommend this, but this is the law. The law says you have a lawful right to resist any false arrest, even at the point of taking the law enforcement officer's life. That's what the law said. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that in multiple occasions. You have a lawful right to resist any false arrest. Now, I don't recommend people to do that, because you got to make sure you're dead right, because these folks are already wanting to kill you. But that is the law, and that's the problem. We don't educate ourselves on laws, rules, and procedures, the things that we know how to do, things that we can do. We don't like to read. That's most of us. But one thing that our young people do like to do is listen to rap music. And
Roger that. I thank you, my brother, for that, for adding that. And Miss Lisa said that she had a few questions.
Yes.
Come on in, Miss Lisa.
I mean, they anybody feel free to call me after the show if you want. 912-424-0752.
Can anyone hear me? Okay.
Yeah, yes, I hear you, sis.
Okay. Mr. Worthy, would you mind putting that phone number in the private chat?
I'm actually in my car side of the road, so I wouldn't miss this. So I'm trying. I don't know if I can do that, but
it should show a paragraph emoji with a lock over it. That's the private chat for everyone in the panel.
Okay, hold on. Let me
see that on your screen.
Let me find my other glasses. They ain't good as they used to be.
Take your time.
I ain't 16 no more.
I had a question about the enclave. I'm calling it an enclave. Don't mind me. So when we say like minds going there, that would be the people who do think a certain way. We're not talking about the current collective mindset of our people in order to answer the question on if I would join that. Am I comprehending this correctly?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, I absolutely would join because that's something that's beneficial and it could definitely help us. And all of the concerns that everyone brought up at the panel, that would be addressed at that enclave with the like-minded people, but don't want to go into all of that because obviously that's when you take it off of social media, correct? And then obviously other things would have to be simultaneously going on, to still further help our people while that's going on. So if it's based off of premise like that, I would absolutely join and relocate. I have to relocate because New York is not in a good state right now. So,
well, I mean, like you said, I agree with everything everybody said on the panel, man. I just, I've been doing this thing for 3 decades, and I've watched it go from worse to better to worse and getting better. Getting worse and worse, and you know what I'm saying, I'm seeing young kids in jail, in prison, and they all saying they ain't doing this, but they all throwing up these gang signs, and the young ladies are now throwing up the gang signs they call peace signs. Little children, I've called out some of the revolution. You're seeing this.
So you are a big help. I don't mean to cut you off. You are a big help because you're like an encyclopedia of information then. So with that being said, even getting information from you about teaching our people more in our communities, that's something we would connect in the back end. I heard somebody say something about not knowing who we're all with. Well, people can be checked. We can vet everyone, even myself. And I know how to, run background checks on people too, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We can make sure that the people who are a part of the nuclei deserve to be a part of the nuclei and then branch this thing out as we see fit. All of that can be discussed. Every concern that we have can be discussed because I too want to be able to help people know their rights in my community. I do agree with you that we really have not been teaching people our rights, but when have we really had the chance? And I'm not saying that as an accusatory basis. I just understand everything that took place. Like we really have been under every single area of attack on our entire existence. And it's okay just to breathe life into that to be able to get it off of you. We even have to get back to the point where we are practicing our breath work. I'm learning how to do that. I'm learning how to do yoga and meditation on my own. And I'm going to start branching out to the women in my communities to help them feel that a little bit more and help them love themselves because they're going to love on their babies. I saw in the chat, somebody said that people are speaking to their children in a negative way. Well, they're feeling bad and beaten up in the inside. Again, not making excuses for that. I just understand what happened. And I really love our collective for real. And I do believe that even the other things that have been done before, that's information for us to still build on. And the mistakes that was made, that our ancestors made, unbeknownst to them, because Ayala says this the best, that you can only do with the information you had at the time. So we got to stop beating ourselves up for what we didn't do because we didn't know that we needed to do what we needed to do then. However, we know it now. And we have to keep fighting this thing. It's just like 400 years. It's going to take 400 years to undo.
Yes.
We still have to get the ball rolling so that it could go in the right direction. And I do want to create opportunities for our own as well. We do. They're also going on right now, too, in our land. After this last point, I noticed with the employment for the young people, because they are starting to get hip, that young people want to use these jobs as a tool. They're doing it to my daughter. they'll cut her hours and won't really give her the kind of hours that she needs in order to use it for a tool. However, because of the way I was able to take care of them, I'm teaching her how to circumvent that because she didn't have any children, so she can still stay at home. It's great. Everything's fine. And she is seeking real opportunities. However, being in a position to create opportunities for our own, my baby wouldn't even have to go through that. So even getting to that point where we make sure that we do create our own opportunities, that comes with all of us getting with each other now. We are united and connecting right now. We don't have to get on this panel and talk about the current state of our people and say, well, nobody's getting together. I'm in a panel of people that's getting together right now in our land.
Well, I'm a retired MMA fighter. I teach youth classes now, the MMA fighting, because I believe the mindset of everybody that's in our classes, children, Black children, have exceeded in educational levels. Their grades shoot up. That's been involved in martial arts. So I teach the MMA and I coach the adult groups, and I also coach the younger groups. And I'm fighting this December with my last final curtain call in the cage one more time before I can't do it anymore.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you for that, my sister Lisa, as well. Brother Abdul, your final thoughts on this conversation, and I hope you can bring it back home and give us a solution to keeping how we can keep the police out of our communities. And sound like to me it's called separation is what it's going to take. Separation and unification. What do you think? Gotcha. All right, my brother, you're good to go.
All right. Peace and blessings. So, God willing, I'll be able to say something of that sort. I will say this, that, in every movement that's ever come amongst our people, it's always split into two sides at the top. When Marcus Garvey was on the scene, you had W.E.B. Du Bois on the other side with two very strong viewpoints. There was a lot of weight that W.E.B. Du Bois had and a lot of valid points he had, but there was equally valid points that Garvey had. And I believe that if we were to look through all of that, if this was like papers on a desk, look through all of that, we would see that there's a middle ground. You understand? So when you've got what like Brother Worthy and Major, we're talking about, there's validity in that. But I would say this, that you have, at the end of the day, you have to follow your heart. If you are on the side that would not be directly supportive of an endeavor, at the same time, be not of those who would hinder such an endeavor. You understand? So if you have a people who say, hey, we're going to unify, we're going to come to a common locality or a common place to call our own home, don't hinder them from that. That was the problem that W.E.B. Du Bois had. He hindered Garvey's efforts. You understand? Instead of say, okay, well, I don't agree with you, but I'm going to, I'm not going to hinder you, but I'm going to, keep on moving in the direction that I'm moving. I'm saying this, if we look at, every example that we have of our ancestors, and for me, I keep digging back at this because I keep seeing, so many profound ways. Again, we don't have a change of mind or a change of heart without actions being demonstrated first that people can believe in. When people saw Malcolm X, they saw someone active, and that's what motivated us to this day. That's why we love him to this day, because we saw a brother who was doing stuff, who was boots on the ground. He wasn't just on the mic talking, but he was in the community. We talk about the Black Panthers to this day because we saw that they were doing things actively. Okay, so we can mention all we can't do this, we don't do that. The children are doing this, the children are doing that. But at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to make all that difference. And none of that is going to change until we do it ourselves and not look for someone else to do it. Okay, let's say the children are listening to bad rap music and it has to be sanctioned. Okay, then we need to do actively things today that shut it down. Not say, well, the children are doing this, the children are doing that, and no one is actively doing any moves or making any efforts. There's an old saying that you change the environment, You understand? If you have you change the environment, you change the outcome of your circumstances. If we stay in the same conditions and situations that we find ourselves in, same neighborhoods, same mindset, same environments, you understand, then we're only asking for the same type of punishment. I mean, how do you expect to not be burned while still standing in the fire? It is impossible. So you move out of the fire, you understand, move into a place that's more comfortable, more where you can plant yourself down and then reestablish yourself, reinvent yourself, recreate yourself. Reki, I believe, is the Hindu term for it, where you change your environment. You put your environment in a way that brings about peace. So it's not just a psychological thing. Psychology won't be enough. Religiosity won't be enough. Spirituality won't be enough. All these things are part of the body, but you actually have to physically do something different too. We can't keep doing the same things and then think we're somehow, it's just going to magically, our minds will just magically change. That's not going to happen. We have to physically, mentally, spiritually make a difference. I'm hoping that, I'm trying to drive that in because again, I understand that we have two major opinions. It's not unique to this panel. These arguments have been made, Cornell West, you name it. These arguments have been made again and again and again by us, and it's split us at some of the most critical points. But here's the thing. I agree that we need to be attentive to, for example, political matters. We need to be, aware of how things are going on, for example, in the judicial system, like, for example, dealing with our brother Otho Wallace as just one example. You understand? I personally believe that situations like this are examples of when they use us to make a token out of us, to say, well, we're going to do this to this person or try to do this to that person as an example to open the door for other things we might do to you later on. But if we are mindful of these things, if we're paying attention to these things and we have our brothers back, see, as I mentioned in the chat, what we do with the Otho Wallace situation, what we do there is going to speak volumes. Even with I'm not sure what the Brother Worthy, the whole scenario there is, but I'm sure we'll have more information. But any of these scenarios that bear this kind of weight, what we do, not what we say we're going to do, see, if you look at that Otho.org, you will see people who are doing something. They're putting their money where their mouth is. Actions are happening. That's all the difference than the glorified talk and speech that gets us likes and shares and whatnot. Actions have to happen. Moving somewhere. You want to know who real people are? You want to vet the real people? Watch how many people actually move when they agree upon it. Watch how people when they move, they come with skills. They come with incentive, bearing gifts, bearing knowledge, bearing a part to play to make it actually happen and succeed. Not to say, well, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, and it's like that little red hen story. You understand? Looking around for their own to help and nobody helps, but we still keep on doing it. But then when they see signs of success, now everybody wants to participate. We can't have it like that.
Yeah,
we have to be real,
brother. We definitely
from the jump street.
We have to stop being bandwagon people, and we have to be like Brother Major said. We have to stop being reactive, but start being proactive. And a lot of things that we said here tonight is very, very valuable. I think it was a healthy discussion. I think it's much needed. We went and touched upon lots of topics. But we still have to deal with the police when we get up and we drive to work tomorrow or we go to school. We still have to engage with these people. So if we don't get a handle on how we engage with one another and how we lack trust for one another, because that's the key thing. We don't have enough trust in one another that we can do it, that we can come out from underneath this Americanized rule of doing business, especially with one another. We have to love on each other, like was once said. We have to hold each other accountable, and we have to take responsibility for our own actions or lack thereof. Now,
Yes.
everybody within the sound of my voice will commit to doing something for someone else today, tonight, tomorrow. You can start by donating to author.org. And if you don't want to donate to author.org, I couldn't imagine why you wouldn't want to donate to author.org. Then find someone else to do something for other than yourself. If we
Yeah.
stop being selfish and we learn to show love to our brothers and sisters, I think then we could keep the police out of our communities, because we won't have a need to call the police on our brethren, and we'll be able to take care of one another when we're stopped by the police out here in these streets. We're able to come to each other's aid because we know one another. I hope that makes sense, and I wasn't just babbling.
And I want to mention something if I can. Um, think of this. I think that in the past, when our community started thriving and started becoming successful, one of the problems that ailed us, that caused us to become vulnerable to the aims of our adversary, was that nobody knew about this. Even this day, many of us had to learn this kind of through our own story behind the scene. We didn't learn it in school. We didn't learn it in like mainstream history. We had to learn this indirectly. So what I'm thinking is that, you know, I understand that many things that we might want to do would be, you know, this isn't a YouTube type thing to present, but many of the things might be like that. But some things we might want it to be transparent, so that potential allies, people who would be understanding, would be more supportive. Because if we follow, you know, some of the same mistakes that we've done before, we're only asking for a similar treatment to come from our adversary. If you think of like, I think his name is Brother York, you know, or other people who've done things where they tried to establish an autonomous based community. We need to learn lessons from those things. Many of these things, like I said, they were done in a behind the scenes fashion, and that didn't fare well. So what I'm saying, there's a middle ground. There's a middle ground, and we need to find out what meets both ends, defensively and offensively, actively and passively. What meets both ends? What protects us? What makes it so that this is something we can do and succeed in, while at the same time being able to protect it and being able to not be further oppressed by our opponents. You understand? Not be further oppressed, and tie ourselves into a network of authentic alliances.
Like the sister said,
building.
yeah, I think you're conveying the same sentiment that Sister Lisa conveyed when she said that we here are like-minded people that are on the panel tonight. And I don't want to keep you guys any longer than we have to be here. I know we all probably have jobs to get back to. I want to thank you all for attending tonight and letting your voice be heard. You know, sharing your opinions on how we can do better as a community in regards to policing ourselves. We learned that it's going to take us re-examining our mental state, changing our mental state to break the mental chains of slavery. It's going to take us unifying and coming together to create a community whereby we're taking care of each other, we're loving on each other, and we're supporting each other both financially and physically and emotionally. And so, with that being said, I want to thank Brother Major for coming in and helping me put this platform together. I want to thank all my panelists that was here, Brother JoJo, Sister Dee Dee Taylor, Sister Lisa, Miss Watchman, Brother Worthy. Thank you so much, and we're going to be praying for you and much success on your coming case tomorrow. And also, we also want to let anyone know if anybody's in the chat or will hear this later. If you're in Georgia, please look up Brother Worthy. He is running for NAACP president in that area. I'm going to let Brother Worthy have his last word. and then we're going to go ahead and say goodnight. I do appreciate everybody in the chat. Also, Sister Seven, Brother Kenyon, and Sister Yana. Anybody I missed, I love y'all with the love of Yahuwah. Brother Worthy, why don't you go ahead and give us your last word and close us out, sir?
Yeah, well, I just want to say, man, I enjoyed the conversations. I mean, I agree with everything everybody had to say, man. I love it. I think we need to do more of these. You know, we need to do more of these talks like this. Make it bigger and better for everybody, and more people. It would be a good thing to do, to have different topics every week. And I just want to let everybody know, man, we got to learn to educate our children so they can educate their children, so they can't repeat the habits and mistakes that we made, and live life on. So with that said, I will give you all strong black power. Keep up the good work, keep up the good talks, and let's do this again. Black power.
Black power, black power. Brother Worthy, I definitely will be in touch with you soon. And for everybody who's on here right now, if you can hear my voice, please go to oath.org and donate. Any amount will be greatly appreciated. Let's make a difference today on May 23rd. Don't not forget that we have that Juneteenth walk run coming up on June 17th. If you have not pledged, go on over to oath.org and click on the link for the 5K run. Pledge how many pledge that you will commit yourself to run or walk 5K on June 17th. Join us then. Don't forget to tune in to Y2 Kenyon on YouTube on Thursday as we are on court watch for Brother O's motion that will be heard on May 25th. So stay tuned to Y2 Kenyon's channel on YouTube for that. And like again, I say, I love you all with the love of Yahuwah. Thank you once again for joining us. It's been great. Shalom, my friends.
Peace.